Senor, I don't know no Farid. I was just lying.
I will slit your throat.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Prone here and welcome to the latest episode of Prones Picks. On today's episode, I'm going to be getting into the spooky spirit and I'm going to be shouting out some of my favourite annual Halloween go-tos.
Talk to me, Lord. Talk to me.
I love Dad.
There goes the neighborhood.
Look, I'm just going to assume that the majority of you are pretty much watching horror films all year long and you're not waiting till October to squeeze them all in. And while this is certainly the case with me as well, there are definitely a few gems that I like to break out every year around October and especially All Hallows Eve. So grab yourself a pumpkin spice latte, who wrote this? And sit tight, because I'm going to talk about some of my favourite annual Halloween go-tos. I'm going to start off the episode with one of my favourite 80s slashers, and that's 1982's House on Sorority Row.
I'll get back at you for the last thing I do!
Because in this sorority, nothing is off limits, as long as it's fun for the girls. So when it came time to say goodbye, they decided to make real sure that no one would ever forget the girls in the house on Sorority Row.
Now, this is one that I've been a fan of since the video rental days, so nostalgia definitely plays a part in my love for this film. That aside though, I still think that it's really fun and a really well-made 80s campus-style slasher. The screenplay is quite original for this type of film. There's some fantastic kills, mostly likable characters, and of course the band 4 out of 5 doctors. You know the score by now. Horror anthologies, pretty hit and miss. But this next one I'm about to talk about is one of the most solid entries of this century. I'm talking about 2015's Tales of Halloween.
I don't have the slightest idea what you're dealing with.
I can honestly say that I enjoy almost every segment of this wonderful low-budget anthology. There's terrific entries from some of the best horror filmmakers working today, such as Darren Lynn Bousman, Lucky McKee, and Neil Marshall. It's also littered with heaps of genre faves like Adrienne Barbeau, Lynn Shay, and Alex Esso, just to name a few. The budget may be small, but the segments are still very creative, super gory, and heaps of fun. It's a perfect Halloween watch. Next up, I've got another favourite from my youth, and one that I saw way too young. I'm talking about Clive Barker's 1990 film, NIGHTBREED.
Hidden from sight, closer than you might think, is a place that's not on any map. Midian.
Something's breeding there.
It looks a lot like hell, but they call it home.
There goes the neighborhood.
They're not pretty. They're not neighborly.
You'll come back now, you hear?
They're not even human. But this time, they're the good guys. From the imagination of Clive Barker comes NIGHTBREED.
I was 10 years old when my older cousin showed me this film, and it was pure nightmare fuel for a few months there. But as I got older, the nightmare fuel was replaced by admiration for Barker's wonderfully creative vision. The makeup, costume, and production design are all insane, and the screenplay, while a little disjointed, has so many wonderful elements in play that it's easy to look past it. The director's cut also helps to amend these problems. Oh yeah, and David Cronenberg plays a serial killing psychiatrist, so basically essential viewing. My next one is my Halloween go-to zombie flick, and I'm talking about Romero's super influential 1985 classic Day of the Dead.
They can be tricked into being good little girls and boys, the same way we were tricked into it on the promise of some reward to come.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? They're dead! They're fucking dead, and you want to teach them tricks?
They have to be rewarded, Captain. Why else will they do what we want them to do?
I don't want them to do anything but Drapo!
This is my favorite film out of the classic Romero zombie trilogy, which includes the brilliant Night of the Living Dead and, of course, Dawn of the Dead. And while I do love those other two and believe them to be classics, I think that Day is better shot, better written, has better gore effects, peak Savini, has more relevant social commentary, and of course, the goat of all zombies, Bob. Up next, I've got one for the kids, and I'm talking about 1990s The Witches.
From the incredible imagination of Jim Henson and director Nicholas Roeg comes a fascinating new fantasy adventure, The Witches. For when a little boy accidentally stumbles into their secret world, he finds they've got a lot more power than he ever imagined.
Directed by one of Australia's most underrated filmmakers in Nicholas Roeg, this is a damn near perfect adaptation of Roald Dahl's wonderful book. I've loved this film since I was a youngster, and nostalgia aside, I think it's still aged really well and would definitely land with kids today. It's weird, it's gross, it's funny, it has great practical effects, lovable characters, and a great sense of adventure. For my next Halloween go-to, I'm going to be taking it back to the old school with Universal Horror's arguably best film, 1935's The Bride of Frankenstein.
Alone you have created a man. Now together we will create a woman.
You make man like me?
No. Woman. Friend for you. What we need is a female victim of sudden death.
I love dead. Hate living.
While I'm not the biggest Universal horror fan or aficionado, there is still a few that I truly do love. Most of them directed by James Whale, actually. The Old Dark House, The Invisible Man, and Creature from the Black Lagoon are all faves of mine. But it's hard to go past Bride in terms of the pick of the bunch. It's almost 90 years old, but the story still feels relevant, especially the feminist subtext. It's beautifully shot, has terrific gothic production design, and some really strong performances. If you're not too familiar with Universal horror films, or just older horror films in general, I definitely recommend this one as a good starting point. Now, I guess it wouldn't be much of a Halloween recommendations list without a John Carpenter pick, right? The only question is, which one to choose? Now, for me, there's one that ticks all of my Halloween vibe boxes. I'm talking about 1980's The Fog.
There's something in the fog. Stay away from the fog. From the creator of Halloween, the ultimate experience in terror and suspense. John Carpenter's The Fog.
I mean, this film really does have the who's who of horror and genre films involved in the production. Produced and co-written by Deborah Hill, co-written and directed by Carpenter, editing and production design by Tommy Lee Wallace, and shot by the legendary Dean Cundey. Oh, and let's not forget the cast. Adrian Barbeau, Tom Atkins, Jamie Lee Curtis, Hal Holbrook, and friggin' Janet Leigh. You've got the small coastal town setting, tons of fog, crazy backlighting, Atkins and Curtis as your protagonists, and of course, friggin' ghost pirates. Now, if you're struggling to get into the spirit of things, this film will definitely get the vibe going for you. Last, but by certainly no means least, I'm talking about one of my favourite horror films of this century. That's Ty West's 2007 satanic panic masterpiece, House of the Devil.
Here we go.
Are you not the babysitter?
Oh my God! Talk to me, Lord. Talk to me.
Well, by now you all know that I am a total Ty West fanboy, especially after the A24 horror episode. And this, my friends, is where it all started for me. Not only did House of the Devil introduce me to Ty West, it was also the first time that I saw Greta Gerwig and Jocelyn Donahue on screen, two of my absolute favourites.
It's gonna work out.
Look, I know that the whole 70s/80s throwback thing is done to death, but in 2007, this film felt very fresh. And I think that this film and his other film X are probably the exceptions to the rule. Anyway, I could waffle on about this one forever. It's definitely one of my favourite modern horror films. If you haven't seen it though, just be patient with the first two acts and you'll be thoroughly rewarded in the final act. It's really well written, it's well acted, ridiculously well shot, great attention to detail with the production design and costume design, and most importantly, it's legitimately scary. It's a definite must-watch in my opinion, and an absolute banger to watch on All Hallows Eve. Well, that's it for my Halloween go-tos episode, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I hope that I've made life a little bit easier for you when looking for that scary movie to watch during the season. Let me know what are some of your favourite Halloween go-tos in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I hope that you have a fun movie-filled week. I'm Prone. I'll catch you next time. Peace.